I didn't really think of Sis as being different. I thought of Sis as being my sister.
Because I get a good sense of humor, and I guess I show it all the time, be happy and laugh, and they know that.
Sis is an inspiration to not only the disability community, but to each one of us.
Hey, I've got a story for you, right here today, and some history too. Never fade away, listen what I say, stories here to stay. Never fade away, and never fade away.
This is Never Fade Away, an oral history project centering untold stories by and about people with developmental disabilities in Ohio. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the storytellers and not necessarily endorsed or representative of the producers. I am your neurospicy host, Kate Siahaan-Rigg, and this podcast is brought to you by LAD, a Cincinnati-based organization grounded in the belief that all people have ability and value. LAD empowers adults with developmental disabilities to live, work, and connect. Here are some of their stories.
Never fade away, listen what I say, stories here to stay. Never fade away.
Today, I'm speaking with Sis Geier and her brothers Jeff, Peter, and Rodney. Now, 50 years ago, their mother, Peggy Geier, founded LAD, a groundbreaking organization in Cincinnati offering services and support to people living with disabilities. LAD is also the producer of this podcast, Never Fade Away. So to kick off our first season, I sat down with Sis and her brothers on the eve of Sis's 70th birthday. Say that 3 times fast. Sis's 70th birthday, Sis's 70th birthday, Sis's 70th birthday. In this episode, Sis and her brothers reflect on growing up together and the legacy of their mother, Peggy. All right, you guys ready? So we have Rodney, Jeff, Peter, and Sis. Is that right?
Correct.
That's it.
Okay, why don't you all introduce yourselves to me? Tell me why you're all in Cincinnati together right now, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, maybe I'll start since I'm the oldest brother. I'm Peter Geier, Sis's oldest brother. And I'm here to celebrate Sis's 70th birthday. She's having a birthday party tomorrow night. We're all really excited to be here. I'm Dr. Rodney Geier. I'm Dr. Peter Geier's one of his younger brothers. I live here in Cincinnati. Spent a lot of time with Sis. We're excited about her 70th birthday tomorrow night. Should be great.
Hi, I'm Sis.
Hi, Sis. Happy birthday 1 day in advance.
Very, very, very much.
How old are you, Sis?
I'll be 70.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the youngest of the 4, and I lived in Cincinnati, and I hang out with Sis as well. And when we can, my partner and I we love Sis, and she loves our dog, and we love her.
I'll start with you, Peter. What was it like growing up in this rambunctious family and with Sis?
Well, it's a great question. It was complex and great and fun, and sometimes challenging. As I know, as a child, I loved Sis, but I was also didn't know what to make of having a sister who had disabilities and looked different than everyone else. And I think it took me a long time to become accustomed to having a sister with disabilities. And it was challenging to me, and I think it formed a lot of important parts of my life. And ultimately became maybe the most important thing in my life and one of the most valuable experiences. Sis be a part of my life. And
what were some of the things that helped you adjust, like going through time as a young boy, as a young man?
You know, well, our mother, Peggy Geier, started a lot of different programs, some related to LAD, some related to Camp Stepping Stones, and I was asked to volunteer at some of those programs, and I became more familiar and at ease with people with disabilities and came to appreciate the people with disabilities, but also the people working with disabilities. I was really appreciative of the heart and soul of people who were working with folks, and came to, as I was working at these places also with Sis being there, got to have a different appreciation of Sis as well, more full appreciation of who she was and is as a person.
How come?
I think just because of maybe it's the kind of caring we had as a family. Probably like any family, you're fiercely loyal to those people in your family, and you love them, and you want them to do well and want them to thrive. But I think probably the support of my brothers and Sis, I came to appreciate her more over time.
I know this might be a bit difficult to talk about, but at the beginning when you're a young man, and I'm asking this because I think there's people out there listening who might be going through this right now.
Yeah.
What were some of the sort of misgivings or challenges that you had?
Well, I think as a young boy, I wanted to present myself as completely normal to the world. And so when things didn't seem normal, I was really kind of thrown off and embarrassed, and didn't know how to react. So just by, over time and being around people who were caring and loving and would be encouraging me to participate with people with disabilities, I became a lot more comfortable. I just think Sis and my relationship has deepened over the years to a very deep, loving relationship. That's where I've been able to grow out of those challenges that I had in the beginning. And I think it also made me more in tune with other people's difficulties, helped me to be a more understanding and empathic person. I think it played a big part in my wanting to become a doctor and ultimately a psychiatrist. It opened up a window of softness and understanding and receptivity towards other people that I got grown up with Sis.
Now, who's the youngest of you all?
Me.
You are?
I'm Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, what was it? So same question for you. What was it like growing up with Sis?
Well, I was a year behind Sis, just a year, and we were real close. I really had, I guess because I was young and naive, youngster, real small guy, that I really didn't realize that Sis was different until my mom took me and Sis to this campus a long time ago when the Cerebral Palsy Center was here. There was an old building that was here that Sis would go for physical therapy for her legs. Her right side's paralyzed, so she was here for braces, and my mom dragged me along. And then seeing other people that were different than my peers and stuff that I had in school, or I was pretty young. I don't know if I wasn't even in school by then at that point, but I mean, it was, and seeing folks that had difficulties, understanding what they were saying and talking and whatever else. That's sort of my first awareness that Sis had a disability.
So you didn't even know right away?
No, because we were so close to each other and just a year apart or less.
And she was older than you, so did she tease you a lot, or did you tease her a lot? Who teased who more?
I don't think we really teased each other a whole lot. We just did, play together. And then when she was like 9 or 10, went to boarding school in Wisconsin, I really missed her a lot. I was really missing Sis. And I was like, somebody had taken away one of my play friends because she went to Catholic boarding school for the disabilities up in Wisconsin, and I really missed her.
All right, well, let's talk to Dr. Rodney now. You're I guess technically the middle child-ish, is that right?
Yeah, Sis and I share that medal.
What was it like growing up in this family?
Pretty cool. I had an older brother who, used to torment me and push me along and encourage me all at once. And then I had 2 younger siblings who were, kind of we call them the babies. They were the little ones, and but talking about the babies, we were kind of raised in sort of 2 shifts, if you will. My brother Peter and I were part of one shift, and Sis and Jeff were part of the other. Maybe I have a little different perspective on it, but I didn't really think of Sis as being different. I thought of Sis as being my sister, and I didn't have another sister to compare her to. So, she was just part of the family. And, Sis used to play Frisbee with us. We'd ride in the sled with her on snowy days, hit her with snowballs. She played the Frisbee, ran around the yard. I mean, she Sis was very agile. Even though she had a right-sided paralysis, she could run and catch Frisbee on the run, which was, pretty cool. So, I didn't really realize that Sis had a disability or thought about it too much until, the same deal when she started going to camp with other special folks. And, then kind of tuned in that things were a little different. And then when Sis went away to boarding school, as Jeff mentioned, then it was pretty clear that things were a little different in her world. And we went to that school up in Jefferson, Wisconsin, I guess it was. And, there were a lot of kids like Sis that had different disabilities, and went to the Christmas show, saw the guy sing 5 gold rings, and almost stopped the show. It was so dramatic. Yeah. So as time went on, it became pretty clear that Sis had a disability, but I think having 3 brothers really helped a lot in terms of her growth, her maturity, and her determination to try to keep up with us. Because I know I spent a good part of my time trying to keep up with him, but like I said, she was always part of the family, and being the sister, which we call her still, the sister.
All right, now, star of the show, having a 70th birthday tomorrow. Sis, what was it like growing up with these 3 dudes as your brothers?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Some of my friends really love my brothers, like my friend Tina. She's not here anymore. She really loved my brother. I thought she was going to take my brothers away from me.
Did you ever get teased by them? I mean, you are siblings and there's only one sister.
All the time.
See, I knew that Jeff was not telling me the truth. Tell me about getting teased by these guys.
I'll tell you one thing. My brother Peter, he took off my doll heads.
Yeah, I'll just chip in here. We did one thing I'll never forget. We made a recording on a reel-to-reel tape player of scary sounds and put it under her bed and turned it on one night. And I don't know if the recording didn't work or what, but that was the most, kind of weirdo thing we did, or one of them, to Sis. Yeah, we did tease her a lot. She took some grief.
Yeah, I love how Jeff was like, no, never teased ever. We just hung out.
Well, actually, it's not necessarily 100% truthful. You can go to confession here, Father. No, but me and Sis got stuck with the old people down on a family vacation down in near Miami. But me and Sis got stuck with the 3 older patriarchs in our family, Grandma, Sophie, and Marty, in this room, and we had cots. And it was like Peter and Rodney got the deluxe rooms by themselves, and down the hall, and we were like stuck with these old people. And so I was really bored. And so I went outside of our motel room, and there happened to be about 25 black crickets in the tree. So I gathered the crickets and I put them under her sheets. So that night, when Sis got into bed and pulled the sheets up, they were going to bite, so that wasn't going to hurt her, but just played a trick on her, and then she screamed, and the old ladies were all mad at her. See,
I love how you're the first one who said we never teased her, and then you did that crazy thing.
Yeah, I'm an entomologist also, so
that was the beginning of it.
So that was the beginning. I'll ask this to everybody. What was it like growing up with Peggy? Because Peggy's kind of the force that started LAD and Stepping Stones, right? What was it like being part of that whole thing?
In 1975, LAD was founded in large part because of Sis's energetic personality and her appetite for independence. Peggy Geier had a vision, so she collaborated with friends and community members to create all sorts of programs with the right kind of support for her daughter and for other people with disabilities, the kind that offered people opportunities to live more full lives.
I'll start off on that. So Peggy, I think right out of the box, had some interesting life experiences, which were helpful in Sis's management as a child. And one of them was one of Peggy's brothers had some mental illness. And I think so Peggy right out of the box, I think had a sort of a sensitivity for people that were different, because her brother was the sweetest guy in the world, but he got in a lot of trouble and he just really had kind of a very difficult life. So I think that was a big thing in Peggy's life. And then we were talking earlier today, my brothers and I, about Peggy is a young married mother, worked with the junior league and did some work at Longview, some volunteer work. And I think saw what what was going on there, that was an institution set up for people with disabilities and mental illness kind of thrown together. That really wasn't very pretty. It was, I think, sort of difficult for my mom to see that. But I think very important for her to see that because I think that led her to believe that left untouched, that could be the fate of her daughter. And I think as time went on, that lesson that she saw there had her always looking for something else. And then she took it upon herself in the summers to start taking kids in with wheelchairs in their station wagons with a couple other moms to city parks, to county parks. And then Stepping Stones became available, which was a property that the Fresh Air Farm owned out in Terrace Park that they were going to sell because the Fresh Air Farm kind of concept had become sort of worn. My mom was in the right place at the right time, knew some people that were able to help buy that from the Fresh Air Farm Foundation. And that was the beginning of Camp Stepping Stones, which all three of us as brothers spent time volunteering there. And that's become an amazing organization that has led to day facilities for folks with disabilities. Actually, that's what Sis does. Sis does now. She spends her time 3 days a week at Camp Stepping Stones in Norwood, and they go out on activities, right, Sis?
Yeah.
They dance,
And
sing.
we dance. Yeah. Friday, we have dancing. We dance on Fridays.
And you tell them what you do for activities when you go out in the community. Meals on Wheels.
I go on Meals on Wheels. That is for people who can't get their food, and we put the food in boxes for them.
So you're part of the volunteers at Stepping Stones that do things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jeff mentioned earlier about my parents choosing this place in Wisconsin for Sis to go, which was run by the Catholic nuns, for her to go to sort of like a boarding school, if you will, where she went to classes. She had responsibility to take care of herself and learned how to do her laundry, how to make her bed, personal hygiene things that she was able to accomplish. And then when Sis came home in the summers, she would go to Camp Stepping Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So it was sort of a beautiful thing until it became time for Sis to then conclude her education at St. Coletta. And she started at age 9 and she didn't get out of there until age 21.
What was it like, Sis? What do you remember?
It was very mean. I didn't like anybody there.
Did you miss your brothers a lot when you were there?
I got homesick a lot. Yeah. Miss Mom and Dad, my brothers. Yes.
And did you feel like you had good friends there or a community of other kids? No, not so much.
I'd like to just fill in here for a second and say that Sis's experience at St. Coletta was one of very brisk discipline, because all four of us went to Catholic school. And we all know at that time in the 60s that punishment was punishment, and they could literally, hit you. Yeah. So Sis reports to us that there was some of that going on up there. We don't think it was actually beatings, but it was a fearful environment that you went to school in. We did too when we were kids here in Cincinnati going to Catholic school.
And was everybody at St. Coletta's, did they all have a disability?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it was a cool place. But it was also a place, I think, again, where my mom learned a ton, my father too, all of us, about the fact that Sis was educationable. Sis was educatable. Sis was somebody who could learn. And she did learn. She learned a lot of skills there, not only life skills, but, they had classes that she went to. So I think that place helped my mother see that, again, that there's tremendous capability here.
Well, let's talk about that a little more, because I want to ask Peter about this. So Rodney said that, Longview had a big influence on Peggy in terms of not wanting her daughter to be in a kind of institutional setting that looked like Longview. Do you remember the story? Maybe she told you what the doctors at the time said to her when Sis was born about what her future would be like.
I don't know the specifics of what they said to her, but I was like 5 years old at the time. And I just remember that there were periods of tremendous grief of my mom, and she was crying a lot and constantly upset. And so Sis, the initial birth trauma, she didn't get enough oxygen when she was born. And then she had some major seizures. But later on, she was 3 or 4 or so years old, which resulted in a paralysis. And I think there was tremendous guilt and grieving that went on, particularly with my mom. I mean, we witnessed that she was able to transform that grief and sorrow, just really overwhelming grief and sorrow. It's really painful for her, into kind of a determination to carve a path out for Sis's development and for development of other people like Sis, because there really weren't pathways for people like Sis and others. And so, as Rod mentioned, that she partnered with some other wonderful people. They came together with great ideas and plans and really set up Camp Stepping Stones, but LAD as well. And everything has kind of been along Sis's trajectory as she's grown as a person. So from a young child to adolescent to young adult to mature adult, now that, LAD has these programs for elderly people. So my mother's grief turned into this wonderful determination and vision, along with many other wonderful people, to create where we are today.
I mean, I'm very emotionally moved right now, because if I'm interpreting correctly, the story of Sis's life is the story of the development of Stepping Stones and then LAD. So Sis, you are the inspiration for the little sparks that gave birth to these amazing places that so many families get to come to and have terrific experiences and lives. How do you feel about that, Sis, being, like the original and true inspiration for all these people?
Well, I think it's really nice. I really enjoy helping everybody out now. But when I was a little girl, I wasn't too happy. I used to throw things in the house.
You used to throw things?
Oh, yeah. But not anymore.
What kind of things did you throw?
I don't know. Ask Rodney.
Yeah, Sis there was a period of time, I think, when Sis was in her 6, 7, 8, right before she left for St. Coletta. I think there was some behavioral issues that were very, very challenging for my parents. And even though, my parents had help with raising us, it was very challenging. It was, well, first of all, my parents believed in boarding school. They both went to boarding school. And so, sending Sis to boarding school wasn't the craziest thing in the world.
Jeff, you went to boarding school too?
I went to high school and boarding school, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there, I don't remember this exactly, but I think there were some moments where Sis would kind of run through the living room and kind of
Really?
bust stuff up. Yeah. So it was a little bit disruptive, I think, at some point, which I think led to investigation for alternatives, which then led to them deciding on St. Coletta. But I'm sure that my parents, probably felt very conflicted about what to do here, because here this child is with special needs and we're, abdicating our responsibility. But in fact, what they were doing was facing their responsibility by putting Sis in a particular environment where she could thrive. And I know, and Sis looks back on it, and I understand that, just like I don't like the way the nuns manhandled any of us, what was like growing up in the U.S. education system in the 60s. But I think we all would look back on that and say, we all learned a ton from it, even though parts of it were horrible.
I think it was kind of like boot camp, like being in the Army, like being in the Marines or something.
Oh,
Well, what was it like, Sis, coming back every summer and going to Stepping Stones?
that was great. I really enjoyed going to Stepping Stones a lot. It was really, really nice. I love to swim. Oh, it's called the swimming paddle.
Did you realize that Mom had kind of helped create Stepping Stones and partly did it for you?
Yes, I know that. I
Oh.
know.
Know it at the time?
No.
And then also LAD, right? I mean, do you live in one of the residences at LAD right now?
I live at LAD. Yeah. Find a way. It's really, really nice there. Nobody's mean. Everybody's so sweet. Not the ones at St. Gilles. They were all mean.
Do you have your own apartment at Find A Way?
Yes, I do.
What do you do for fun? What do you cook?
I don't really cook. I have microwave dinners. But one thing I want to share is all these 3 boys that I love dearly. They're my brothers. I love them so much.
Love you too. Like you're saying that on camera, sis.
Yeah, that's not what we heard on the way over here.
But we all had a good time growing up, all 3 brothers. Enjoyed that very, very much.
Did you boys ever have to defend Sis or, take someone to task in her defense?
I don't really remember that. I do remember, having friends over and having them, I changed schools when I was in 6th grade, and I remember meeting some new friends and having them come over and sort of looking at Sis, staring at her because they really hadn't seen somebody with disabilities or been around somebody like that. I do remember that. Very quickly, those people became buddies with Sis and are still very, very supportive. Always ask me how Sis is doing, and many of them live out of town. But that's one of the things they'll always ask me: "How's Sis doing?" And
Which buddies?
since I just made that up, I don't have any friends. Sis's physical disabilities really were something that we were, it's just part of Sis. And I want to say one more thing about where Sis lives because it's super cool going over there. Jeff and I are fortunate enough to live here and get to see Sis quite a bit. So we take Sis out and we bring her back to Find a Way, which is in Oakley.
When the LAD campus at Victory Parkway was initially set up, it was intended to be for people to learn how to live independently in their own apartments, but the reality was that there were so many barriers for people trying to find accessible apartments. So finally, after 10 years, after its own founding, LAD built Find a Way apartments for people with developmental disabilities, and that's where Sis lives right now.
Oftentimes there's a group of people out on the veranda there as you drive in. Sis gets out of the car and she says, "Hey, everybody, I'm home." And everybody goes, "Hey, Sis, hey." And then Sis, gets out, rolls in, says a few things to folks and goes, into her room. It's amazing, the spirit there. And we just saw it this afternoon, where, a couple of folks are walking around asking us, which one are you and you and you? Oh, sure, I know you. It's a really cool place to be part of. And the staff over there, and Sis are on, first name basis. She's friends with everybody. But I'll say to Sis, "Sis, who was that?" And Sis will go, "Oh, I don't know, but she's really nice."
When I go there, and the spirit of the community is really strong and loving. But just being there, spending time there, when I walk out of the place or just how loving everybody is and nice to me too, that I look up into heaven and thank my mom and dad.
Did they start LAD right around the time that Sis was ready to live independently? What's the timeline on that?
Well, she started out here on the campus here. They don't have it anymore, but when she came from St. Coliva's building, that was like a starter place where you learn how to be independent. Like you had a group home. Sis graduated from the group home to the individual apartments to teach you how to take care of yourself. And then my mom and her friends started this 30-unit apartment building in Oakley, where Sis, she's one of the original residents there and still there.
Joel was the first one, and I was the second one.
I mean, it sounds like you're really good at making friends, Sis.
Yes, I am. I love family, and I love all my friends.
I live in Cleveland, and so Sis occasionally comes up and visits me in Cleveland, and she's met a number of my friends. And when I told them I was coming here for Sis's 70th, we got together and made a card for Sis.
Oh, how sweet.
Just made a big impression on my friends in Cleveland. So she's very good at branching out.
I like Peter's friends.
All over.
Sis, some people with disabilities feel shy or have trouble making friends. What advice would you give them on how to make friends?
I guess because I get a good sense of humor, and I guess I show it all the time, be happy and laugh, and they know that.
So do you think that's one of the key tools to making friends, is to have a good sense of humor?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you volunteer as well. You give your time now, right? To Stepping Stones.
I like everybody at Stepping Stones. I have a best friend named Sherry. I want her to come to my 70th birthday. She lives on the other side of town, and she said she couldn't do that. So she's a really good friend. Then I have two other good friends named Leslie Orth and Jennifer Scurry. Leslie lives here on this campus. Yeah.
And what are your big plans for tomorrow? Let me hear about this birthday party you're going to have.
I know, be surprised.
Oh, you can't tell me because it's a surprise. Well, what do you hope it's going to be like?
I hope it's very, very nice, and I hope everybody's nice. But I know my three brothers by now. They might do something. This one, and that. They might do something, and they won't tell me.
We weren't going to tell you until now, but we're bringing in the sisters from St. Coletta.
Oh,
Sisters of Assisi, you're coming back. We dug them up.
Oh, you did not.
Well, Sis, we're almost finished now, so I'm going to ask you all individually. I'll start with Sis. What are your hopes now for this part of your life? What dreams do you still have that you want to do?
Well, I want to work at Stepping Stones right now. I don't want to retire yet. I was thinking about working with dogs, but I was afraid if I worked with dogs, I would, if I got attached to them, then I would start crying. So I didn't want to do that job.
Did you ever have a pet?
Yeah, when all four of us were growing up.
Who was your pet?
Who was our pet?
We had dogs and
We had
cats with Muffy,
and
Muffy,
Flower the cat.
Flower the cat.
Stubby. I'd like to say something about what I'd like to see happen future-wise with Sis's life, and that is that Sis continue to be happy and live in a place where she feels loved and supported. And I'd like to see other people have that opportunity as well. And I think LAD's doing that, not only with the senior community that they're putting together here on this campus, but in the community with these smart homes, which are just fantastic facilities where you have 5 or 6 folks living together. A lot of the things technologically staffed, which makes it economical and really state-of-the-art tech stuff.
In 2020, LAD launched their award-winning Smart Homes Powered by Smart Living initiative, and it was to combine home automation with state-of-the-art technology aimed at increasing independence and decreasing reliance on in-person staff support. So if you want to find out more about this, you can find information on these innovative homes and this really cutting-edge technology on LAD's website.
So I know personally I am retired, so Sis is still working, but I took the ticket out. But as a community, I'm really pleased with what we're doing in Cincinnati and across the country with people with disabilities to help them lead more fulfilling lives. And LAD is a big, huge part of that. So that's what I'd like to see happen, that LAD would continue to grow and be able to offer even more services to people like Sis to make their lives as rich as Sis's is. Sis is an inspiration to not only the disability community, but to each one of us. She gets us all fired up and
So loving. She is always telling you how much she loves us, and she means it. I want her to continue to be independent as she can, as we all age here. Well, I'm right behind her. I'm only a year behind Sis, but I want to try to be as independent as I can, as long as I can. I hope that for Sis as well.
I mean, Jeff, you're sitting right there at LAD. How does it make you feel knowing that your family did this? Your mom did this?
just feel really happy, feel really proud and really happy. My mom was really, really driven. I mean, she was always on the run. And I'm really proud of her and really appreciative to her and to my dad, who was also very supportive to her as she had all these adventures with these really smart friends of hers that helped put all this together. You know, I'm very grateful. I'd like to add here, if I could, please, just for a second.
Sure.
And that is that my mom and dad, did a lot for, since Sis was a big impetus for that. But my mom and dad also took advantage of the people in the community in terms of sharing that story with them, which I think has been amazingly important for the success of not only Stepping Stones, but LAD also. So these other people that my parents knew that they were able to bring in and draw into the circle, and the circle's always looking for more people to help and contribute to not only the success of LAD, but also the growth of it. And the same thing with Stepping Stones. We'd like to see them both continue to grow. And I'm glad Jeff brought up our father, because he was very instrumental in supporting my mom. If she came home tired, he would, encourage her to keep going. But they both were very wise in tapping people in the community, which has led to this, amazing place. So my mom was a big impetus behind this, and Sis was too. But there's a lot of people behind this.
You want to name check any of those people?
Well, sure. Mrs. Schloss was one of the original founders of this place. Kath McLaren was really big in this. Minor LeBlond did a ton of stuff. And those are the people I can think of right now. Polly Strauss, the Minor LeBlond. It's hard to. There are so many people, and you hate to leave anybody out.
Bob Gehring.
Mr. Bob Gehring was amazing, yeah. And then there also was our neighbor up the street who helped build the buildings. What was his name? Ron Ketter, yeah. He was
Florence
amazing.
Ketter's now, too.
Yeah. Florence Ketter's a big supporter of land. Like Jeff said, we can't name everybody, but those were some of the amazing folks that have helped. And
We'll just name a couple more, though. I would say Peggy Geier, Rod's wife, been a big mover of LAD and put a lot of tremendous talent and energy into it. And then her daughter is also, Emily Geier, is picking up that mantle as well.
Emily Vollmer.
Emily Geier-Vollmer. Those are also people we're really grateful to.
And Peter, what words would you say to families now who are a little bewildered? I know the ADA has passed, there's all kinds of resources, but people still feel bewildered when they wake up and they have a child or a sibling with disabilities.
Sure. I think really being able to reach out and look for the resources in the community that could be helpful, because they're out there, including LAD, Stepping Stones, other agencies, but LAD in particular can help families who need guidance and are asking questions. That can lead people to other resources if LAD doesn't have those resources. So I'm just, as Jeff said, I'm so grateful that LAD is here and can offer help to families who need that help.
And finally, Sis, can you give people advice on how to be a good sister?
I am a good sister.
You have any advice?
Have a good sense of humor, laugh, smile.
The love in your family just shines through. It just shines through right now in your interview and everything you do. Happy birthday, Sis.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for all the volunteering you do at Stepping Stones. It's amazing. And thank you guys for agreeing to be here today with us. It's such a privilege to talk to you all.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's a great story. It's great to be part of it. Good. Great. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Memories of days gone by, how we were, the when and why, living with a disability, the story of us, the story of me, never fade away.